Well, well. Guess what, guys? I'm by myself. Hello. We are 15 minutes late. Uh, we don't like being late. I don't. But it happens, right? This is not a job. This is a pastime. But I do want to apologize for our tardiness. So while we're waiting for you know who, uh, let's play a song. Now you see the title. Hi, Tia. I'm sorry. I apologize. Now I forgot my manners. Now I forgot my manners. Thank you so much for coming in. Tia's here. Appreciate you. Appreciate anybody that comes in tonight and that participates, that listens, that enjoys the topic. Jason came up with the topic, the dynamicist. He'll be here shortly. Um, and I'm just going to put my 2 cents in, and you guys know I have 2 cents to put in. I'm very opinionated. Hi, Cherokee. We're late, Cherokee. But, oh yeah, we are unlatched. This is our link for anybody who may be watching. We Are Unlatched is going to be the actual page once we get a little bit more established that we're going to host the podcast. So if you're not already subscribed to that page, go ahead and do that. Raise your hand if you're here. Right. This is just unacceptable. Okay. And I'm still not going past 2 hours. Okay. With his late ass. Hi, Cherokee. Okay. So look at, let's play a song because this very unlatched that part. Um, Look, so you see the title is Soft Girl Era. Jason told me about it the other day. I started reading up on it, watching videos on it because I had never heard of it. Okay, and it's some kind of trend that's been going on for a minute. But I mean, it is interesting to talk about, but it's not a new subject. They're just calling it something different, right? So I found a song. I'm gonna play this song just to give Jason some time to set up. Um, I found this song. It's a pretty song, and I love music, so I am going to play this song. It's called Soft Girl Era. I'll put it in the comments, you guys. Um, but I think it's a really pretty song. So I'm gonna play that song. I'm gonna go make me a drink. I'm drinking Tito's and cherry 7 Up today. I wish I had a pineapple. Or some fruit. I would add it. I'm gonna go make a drink, and I want you guys to listen to this song. I think it's pretty, and I'll be back. I will be back. I'm in my South girl bag. I'm giving them South girl swag. The South like where it's at. It's so unmatched. I'm in my South girl era. Flowers and love letters. Wanna be better. Wanna unlock the treasure. Moments so precious. Wanna enjoy the effort. What's the sense in frowns? Baby, adjust your crown. Happiness is not a dream. It can be reality. Being bitter, not the vibes. Forgive and live your life. We just better with time. We want love and light. Keep the energy bright. I want the love, the joy, the peace and more. Anything trigger me can walk out the door. Comfort, ease, flow galore. Anything less than I can't afford. Where my flowers at? Now where my flowers at? I want my power back. I'm taking my power back. I'm in my South girl bag. I'm giving them South girl swag. The South like where it's at. The feeling so unmatched. Don't let your story make you hard. Just let your strength take you far. Yeah, when you healed, you can give out hate. Cause a soft girl gonna keep that faith. Now I let the dark time steal your light. No matter what, forget that pride. Cause you're still hurting so much life. Just put your best on and show them why. Love, the joy, the peace, and more. Anything that triggers me can walk out the door. Comfort, ease, glow galore. Anything less than I can't afford. Where my flowers at? Now where my flowers at? I want my power back. I'm taking my power back. I'm in my soft girl bag. I'm giving up soft girl swag. This soft like where is that? And this is so unmatched. I am in my soft girl era. Hashtag soft girl era. Let me explain that to y'all what that is for me. I don't want to be toxic. I don't want to be super tough. I don't want to be a mean girl. Nobody wants to be that. Scratch that. We getting our power back. We getting our power back. Now when my soft girls at, now when my soft girls at, we in our soft girl bag. This soft girl swag, this soft like where it's at. It's so unmatched. Yeah, Mama Roll. You love yourself. Yo, so that when I think
What's
about
happening?
what's up,
What's happening? We in here though. What's happening? Let's get to it.
when I think about like the soft girl, well, let's do the intro. Sorry. I'm Nirvana 30. Oh no, shit. I'm Nirvana,
And I am the dynamicist. And
and we are.
we're
After I did it, I knew I messed up, and
we're
unlatched.
unlatched.
And this is a prime example. Anything can happen at any time. We just gotta be flexible. I mean, that's how we can do.
Hey,
Because
flexibility is the hallmark of
I'm gonna
mental
tell you
health.
this: when I go into the office, that's when y'all don't get a podcast. I don't even try to get to this motherfucker. I'll be like, nope, shit. I'll probably be home an hour before the podcast start. I don't give a damn. I'm tired. These niggas don't love. They're not niggas. Are they niggas? These people
Who?
don't
Which
love us.
ones?
Our audience, our
Oh yeah, they love
friends.
us though.
They
We out
don't
here though.
love us.
They get it.
Well, look
They
who is
get
here.
it.
Hi to you. My cash app, Jason. You owe me for your lateness.
Coffee. Tia, what's happening? Listen, I got you. Slide your cash up. I got you. We gonna if we gonna start the trend, then we gonna have to stick with the trend. So whenever I don't see you, you gonna have to slide that
Ooh,
money right back to me then.
come
If
on,
it's like
come
that, let's
on.
go. Let's
We
go
talking
then.
about what do they
I'm
call
with
it?
it. Fuck it.
Reciprocity.
We reciprocity. I was just about to say that shit. We on that reciprocity in this bitch.
Okay, what's good for the
Real
goose
talk.
is
Good for the gander. What's
Ga-
happening?
what is a gander?
I don't even know, but whatever it is,
Me neither.
it goes. It
Me the fuck
goes.
either. Oh my god.
Mm.
So that damn dynamicist, what happened? You were just in traffic. Now, did you have to go to work? Were you coming home from work
No,
or
no.
somewhere else?
So no, so I got another event, Ben event this weekend. And so they asked me to help with the driving the vehicles and shit. So we had to go get a sprinter van, another one. So we
Oh,
had
okay.
two of them. So I'll be one of the drivers for this weekend. But getting down there and trying to
Hi
figure out
kids. Love
like what's
y'all.
happening, kids. Trying to figure out the whole ordeal with that and then make it back through all the traffic. Shit, I was off at 4:30. I left around 4:30, but it took forever to get back though. Get
Mm-hmm.
down there and it took forever to get back. So my apologies on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, I want to know with who's the soft girl in the Kent's house. We need a soft. We have a soft girl
listen, I
era. I keep saying error,
I
era.
was listening to that song too though that you were playing, and
Kim
I
said, "Leave
love
us
that.
alone,
I
nigga."
love this topic. Like I think we really need to like vibe with this because I got questions on this one, and
Okay.
questions and statements and woo woo
We know you're
from
very
things I've been noticing.
opinionated.
Who?
Yeah. You.
I'm not that opinionated, really.
You don't think so?
Not,
You think?
nah.
Oh, okay. K2's the soft girl. Okay.
First of all, first of all,
He's the more feminine energy. That K2. Ooh, come on. Let's keep it 100. I knew the answer to that already. So let me ask you this. You text and you said there were two things you wanted to talk about that I liked.
mm-hmm.
Um, is marriage worth it?
Yeah, I
And
think that's a
then
real.
the soft girl era. Now I don't know. These two might go. We might be able to talk about them both depending on how dynamic this conversation goes. Right. So why did you want to talk about the soft girl era? Because I've done some reading. I've looked it up. I've watched some videos so I could get an idea of what it is. So I think I have fairly formed an
Mhm.
opinion. But what made you want to talk about it? Why did you bring it up?
Well, it's a concept I keep hearing about, and I'll hear it like in songs. I'll see it like in people's posts, and I was actually listening to a lady this past week, and she kind of just went in on she's in her soft girl era and juxtaposed against the idea of what it means to be a black woman in America. I was just wondering, I was like, wow, that's really interesting for her to embrace this notion, and then what this notion actually means. Like, right. So how you live that whole piece out. And when you put them two together, like, it's like there seems to be a conflict to a degree. And it's like, so I have to intentionally choose to live in my soft girl era. You feel me? It's like that's
When
kind of
it
what I'm
comes to
getting
black
from it.
black women and
And
being a soft girl
specifically, yeah,
versus
hell yeah, because
other or any
yeah, because
minority,
yeah,
any.
no, I'm going, yeah, well, I'm just gonna stick to what I understand about women of color is because the expectation and what women of color have had to overcome generationally speaking. And then it seems like to a degree, we've gotten to a place in culture, and then these same women now who have embodied what it meant to be the strong, um, and I'm just using the terms that,
Dominant.
people dominant, strong, dominant, professional, women who just about they shit and climbing these corporate ladders or getting to these positions, all right,
Mhm.
in everyday life, if you will, and getting there. Obviously a lot of them were single parents or are single parents too,
Grinding, basically, just grinding
grinding,
and doing
right?
what you got to do. Right.
um because of the epidemic too, without having like fathers in the household, and we can go into the history of that if we want to. And it's
Hmm.
not just niggas deciding to leave. I think
Hmm.
that part is what kind of gets glossed over. Is there was a strategic approach as to why men were removed out of the household and why it was incentivized to have men outside of the household. Well,
Hmm.
long story short, these women now have gotten to this place, and then I'm hearing a lot of them, and again, not all of them, but I'm hearing a lot coming to this place in their, middle years, where they're saying, you know what, I don't want this.
Hmm.
I don't want that. What I want is to be embraced. What I want is to be loved. What I want is to be, you know, um, I want to embrace my femininity in a way. I don't want to be forced to live in this weird dynamic, if that makes sense. I kind of feel like that's actually the baseline, though, the basis of a lot of it is we're being forced, or they were forced to live an inauthentic experience for purpose.
An unauthentic experience.
Hmm.
A black woman.
Yeah.
So to be.
So,
Yeah.
do you think like so? Why do you say it's not authentic for them to be hustlers? I guess.
It's not so much just the hustler notion. So don't hear what
Hmm.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying that
What
women.
part is not authentic?
I'm not saying that women who hustle and grind. I mean, because like, let's just keep it a buck. My mentor right now is a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and I admire the fuck out of her and what she does, what she's able to accomplish, and how she goes about her business. But what I'm talking about in particular is being forced to carry the weight
Mm-hmm.
that I don't believe that women were designed to carry or have to carry,
That weight being the man's portion is what you're saying.
or the weight of the responsibility of the family, the
Mm-hmm.
responsibility of earning the income, the responsibility of
Mm-hmm.
being serving as a mother and a father at times in a household.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very inauthentic. The other aspect of it is when you consider what women of color have had to endure when they've gone into corporate spaces. Because let's be 1000, it's women of color who have opened up the doors throughout history when it comes to the upward movement, corporately speaking. They were the ones. They were the ones that pushed the envelope. And I say this not to just solely identify women of color, but the facts are the facts. They were behind a lot of those movements. The feminist movement in particular, if you get into that, and actually if you guys if you're interested in knowing, um I'm a big fan of Bell Hooks. Big fan of Bell Hooks. She's a author. She's passed now, but when she talks about the feminist movement and what the feminist movement originated as, the shit that we see out here in these streets, that's not the feminist movement. That's not what it was originally started as. That's not even the energy that it became known by. That's like a amalgamation of it, if you will, like it morphed into something different.
Right.
But um, but yeah, so I do think a lot of it was inauthentic. I don't think it was something that we're designed to do and they were designed to do. I think there's certain aspects of our experience here where women were forced to operate in their masculinity, and that's the reality of it. And I give you a good case in point. I work with a lot of women, and what's interesting is take oh shit, the WNBA. This just happened. One of the ladies on the team she gets pregnant, right? Let me rephrase that. She doesn't end up pregnant. She got pregnant. She wanted to have a child, right? The shit she had to endure in a woman's sport, whereas all these motherfuckers got wombs and reproductive organs. But even within that, there was this notion that you bailed on the team. And so then they had this like a weird ass penalty that was being imposed on her for just having a child, which is what biologically she can do and only she can do,
Mm-hmm.
period. Right. So that's what I mean by inauthentic, because what kind of fucked up world do we live in where what you are biologically able to do, oh, I'm about to
You're being
criticize that, and
punished for it.
I'm gonna punish you for your biological ability.
So she wants to claim. So she would be an example of somebody, a woman who wants to claim her soft girl era. That would be an
Well,
example of that.
I don't know. I think a good example of claiming the soft girl era is when a woman says, "Fuck it, I'm not playing your game anymore."
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about being viewed as the strong, independent, dominant woman. I don't give a fuck what you think about me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you think that because I take this position that means that I'm no longer concerned about moving up or concerned about achieving or whatever. No, it's just that the prism of which I work from now is just different. I feel like the soft girl era to a degree is no longer penalizing, uh, or women no longer penalizing themselves for their femininity. That's what I feel
Mhm.
like it is.
Mhm.
If there's areas of me that, this is how I feel about this. This is where I'm at with this, and it's okay. And
Mhm.
I feel like it's almost like the women are, yeah, they're just rejecting these normalized roles that we've kind of come to expect women to be in. Consequently, I also think that goes hand in hand with what's happening on the male spectrum. But before we get into that part, that's kind of my thoughts on that. I feel fairly strongly about this actually in the things I've been reading, things I'm observing, and
Mhm.
and I fucks with it. I fucks with it
Mhm.
in 1,000%, to be perfectly honest with you.
Right.
Um, because if I think about even my upbringing, I was raised by a woman who could not accept or could not live in her soft girl period.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, here's what's interesting. In her age is now, so she raised me without that, without the understanding for what that is.
Mhm.
So then when she gets to this age where she's more mature now and she's at a different space in her life, I
Mhm.
don't know how to accept that because you didn't teach me that. You didn't show me what that looks like for you. So I don't know how to um I don't know how to comfort you unless you tell me you're hurt. I don't know how to I don't know how to anticipate what your needs are because I didn't see that you had any.
Mhm.
I didn't grow up around you having any what could have been perceived as need. And in most people's cases, need is also correlated with weakness.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
vulnerability. I think that's a better term. Right? I wasn't raised around your vulnerability. I didn't see your vulnerability. Any tears you may have had, you hid them from me because you were forced to operate in a role that you were not even designed to operate in. You shouldn't have had to
Mhm.
shoulder those burdens by yourself. You shouldn't
Mhm.
have had to go into the fucking military and deal with the bullshit that's in service and then come home to two boys without a father.
Mhm.
And then you have to try to raise those boys to
Hi,
have
Rooks.
some
Thank you for
sense.
coming.
Yeah, appreciate you for sliding, Rooks. Um, and so for me personally, it's it's challenging to understand because when she does have moments, it's just kind of like it doesn't
You
compute
It
for
makes
me.
you uncomfortable. Like you don't understand it. Does it make you uncomfortable, or because I know for me, uh, being soft, I think it makes me. I don't want to say it makes me uncomfortable, but like I don't. When I see men being soft, it makes me uncomfortable. Um, and I thought about like I don't really cry, right? And that doesn't mean we associate crying with being soft.
Uh-huh.
Um Now we're talking about Rooks, we're talking about soft girl era. I don't know, Rooks, if you've heard of it before. But Jason brought it up, the dynamicist brought it up to me, and we're talking about it, and I started reading about it just the other day. This is not new per se. It looks like it's been around since like a year or so.
Uh,
And it also looks like it started from some Adrian, what's her name? Grande song. What's her name? Adrian. Some
Ariana,
song she did.
Ariana
Yeah.
Grande.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's really the concept of the girl next door basically claiming her power is the to me is like the best way to say it, or where I understood it. Okay. So a soft girl reclaiming the girl next door, just claiming her power and not, stepping in her shit. Okay, standing on business. But this is my thing. When I started reading a little bit about it, right? The first thing you come up on is like the superficial,
Well, let
where
me
you
define it. let me just use one simple definition, and then we can base our conversation around this piece. Um, so the Urban Dictionary says this, and I'm gonna use two, but I said one, but I'm gonna use both. So here's their Urban Dictionary's definition of soft girl. What the fuck was that?
I don't know, but go ahead before we so we can keep going.
Um, soft girl era as one in which a female chooses to only have kind, loving, gentle, and supportive people in her life. It
Mm-hmm.
is a time where she makes an effort to live in peace, happiness, and calmness.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the other definition that kind of goes in line with this is the soft girl era challenges ideas of race, gender, power, and beauty, and instead suggests a softness that comes from an aesthetic that projects overt femininity. Um,
Did
now
it say gender?
this, huh?
Did it say gender?
Yeah, so it challenges
Okay.
the ideas of gender, challenges the ideas of
Okay.
race, gender, power, beauty, and instead suggests a softness that comes from an aesthetic.
Okay, that's an inclusive definition. Okay,
Yeah,
I like.
that projects overt femininity. So
Okay.
now this part is describing what it looks like. The other definition describes it's like how it's lived out,
Mm-hmm.
and some like to a degree the fruit that can be produced as it relates to that, or like you know the reality of it. So, and I kind of like both of those standpoints because this is going to tie into something a little bit later, but the soft girl era, I'm here on the outside
I don't
looking
see
in.
anything wrong with it. I mean, I don't, I really didn't find many people like opposing it. If anything, it was men basically saying, I did find, men saying that, you know, hey, you guys went for the feminist movement and you wanted to have equal rights and this is what I'm hearing, and you wanted to climb the ladder, you wanted to have get the same that a man could get in corporate America and blah blah blah, which they're still not getting, but um you wanted all of this with the feminist movement, and now that you have it, now you want to retract and say, hey, I want to reclaim my soft girl or era, which means I want to I don't want to climb the corporate ladder anymore. I'm done with that. I want to be at home with the kids. I want to
Hmm.
be able to take care of the household. I don't want to be out there grinding for and trying to climb the corporate ladder, blah blah blah. I don't want that, whatever. Okay, that's to me that I read that that was some people's, like, where they were against it, like, hey, you made your bed, now lie in it. Us as men, we don't necessarily, we want 50-50. We don't want you laying up under us and we gotta go make all the money and you sit at home and get your nails done and your hair done and take care of the kids while we out grinding. um that was one aspect of it, and I get that, I understand that. I'm not a man, but I'm not gonna I don't
Hmm.
I'm not the type of woman that would lay up under my husband while he goes out and does everything, and I stay at home and wooty wham. Like, I maybe if we had kids. My husband has said that we don't even have kids. He's like,
Hmm.
if I made a little bit more money, you could just stay home. You don't have to go to work. And of course I don't want to work, right? And we don't even have kids and he feels that way. But not all men feel that way. And another thing is, and this is when you think about a soft girl era, there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it which in an aspect of involving a man and a relationship, and you can look at it as just your individual goals, and you
Ooh,
taking a step back. Okay,
so
there's
let's
two ways to look at that, and
yeah.
it's a
Can you
very
elaborate more on
individual.
can you elaborate more on each one of those? Because I want to hear your thoughts on both ways and how that plays out.
Hi Drea, thank you so much. Drea said, catch me up, y'all. Okay, so we're talking about soft girl era. It's a concept that's been around for about over a year, and that's kind of what we're expanding on. Um, but okay, so which one did you want me to? Which one? I was.
Both. I want to hear. I want to hear
Yeah, I
your
was okay.
each
So
side of that. What it looks like for
yes,
you.
well, the one about so you have the one where it involves a man, and there's
Hmm.
people that look at it as I want to be the typical idea of what a woman or female energy is supposed to do, which is nurture, uh, clean, and you take it how you want. But I just trying to throw the concepts out there. Take care of the house, take care of the kids. Not that that's not a job, and not that they don't have their own that has its own responsibility. It does.
Hmm.
While the man goes out, gets the bacon, and brings it home, right? Along with other kids because he's probably outside doing other shit too. But anyway, now then you got the other side of that is a soft girl era, meaning I don't mind working my 9 to 5, okay,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna loosen up. I don't want to
Mm.
be angry all the time.
Come
I
on.
don't want to feel like I have to fight all the time. I want to release that. And I would like you to take over that and let me just sit in the background and know that you got it.
Yeah.
That to me, that's my soft girl era is more. I don't necessarily need to be at home and you take care of me, although that sounds great. But I'm more like because I have an aggressive personality and I've always been that way. And I'll give you an example for me. Um, just because in my marriage, okay? I married a very masculine man. A very When I went out with him, I wasn't afraid. I didn't have to worry. I could be in my soft girl moment. He would open the door and shit. Like, I'll give you an example. When we first went on our first date, that nigga tried to open the door for me, and I was like, "What the fuck you? What are you doing, bro? I could open my own door." I kid you not. And he's never opened up the car door for me again to this day. To this day,
And
the nigga will pay all the bills, buy, do everything, but he will not open my car door.
now, now let's talk about it. Like, let me ask you a question on that. Why do you think he was opening the car door for you?
Because that's how he was raised. Keep in mind, he's 13 years older than me, so I'm in a different generation than him. So he was still in, I think, more of a what we would call an old school mindset, and he's still in his mind. He's a provider, right? That's how he's always been, and that's how he is. He just doesn't make the money to be able to sustain the lifestyle that we need, where I can stay home, but that's his mindset. So he allows me to be in my soft girl era. I have a man that doesn't mind that would do that in a heartbeat if he could, right? And I'm open to that. And I love it. You know what I'm saying? If I need my nails done, I pay for my nails and stuff. But if I don't have it, he'll be like, just you gotta just tell me what you need. But let me tell you how hard it is for me, Jason.
Mm.
It's hard for me to tell him what I need. I've been with this nigga since 2008. How long is that? So it's like my soft girl era. I still haven't totally got into it. And I've been with this man since 2008. And no matter how many times he tells me, just tell me what you need, it's hard for me because number one, I always feel like I want to do my part. I need to
Oh,
do my part. I have to do my part. And not only that, nigga, I'll be damned if you have anything to hold over my head where you can say, well, I did this and you didn't do that. Like I'm not holding my weight. I always feel like I gotta hold my weight. But I was raised by a single mother who took care of
see,
everything. So
and
I'ma
and,
hold my weight, nigga.
and that's the part though, right? Because you actually kind of nailed it. And if we go and we follow this road a little bit further, what's interesting is he stopped.
Them and those damn balloons. Rook says she's giving the balloons to Tia for her birthday.
Oh, oh, hey Tia, happy birthday.
Cheapo's ready. She's ready to live in it. Yeah, me too, Cheapo. I'm trying to
So
live in it. It's hard.
Yeah, and I think that's the part though, and that's the thing that's the part that I think is worth discussing, because what what I'm seeing women are saying, and when they talk about this a lot of times, especially women that are mature, and I'm not talking about the young ones who, nigga, you just got here. I'm talking about the
In their
mature.
20s. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the mature women who've been here and have seen the different trends and went from being potentially like mama's girls or daddy's girls, and then they moved off into, regular life, and then now they hit these other phases, and then they get to this point where they're saying, you know what, I don't this doesn't come natural to me. What comes natural to me, and this is what I'm getting at the baseline, it's not a performance. The soft girl era is not women saying, oh look, I want to choose to do shit like this. No, I think what it is, you know what, fuck all that, I'm gonna do what comes natural to me, right? Or what kind of resonates with me as a person. So when you said, when I was asking you, why do you think he did that? And you said, well, his generation he comes from, and woo woo woo. Well, I still do stuff like that, right? And I wasn't raised in his generation. But there's an underlying thing that I'm saying when I do this, when I hit open doors, whatever the case may be. It's not because you cannot do it. It's that when I'm present, you shouldn't have to do it. That's the
Okay.
difference.
Okay. Yep.
So
Mhm. Mhm.
because I'm
Mhm.
present, there are just some things that you just will not have to do. And I think that and I've seen this happen where women will say stuff, because I'm the same exact way. You
Yeah, I
tell
know.
me and you give me some shit about some shit that I did. Let me tell y'all something one time. So this happened to me. There's two different times I can think of with different people. In one in particular case, I gave flowers. Now, I wasn't just like, oh, nigga that goes out and smells flowers and shit. I'm thinking about something that might be important to you, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I get flowers. I'm like, okay, I know she likes this color. I heard her mention this kind of flower or something, whatever case may be. I said, so let me see. Let me get her some flowers, just to tell her, I appreciate her, whatever case may be.
Mhm.
Well, this motherfucker made a comment about flowers, and I didn't go just to the grocery store shit, like, right. I actually got some nice flowers, but the
Florist, right? He went
comment,
to a florist.
yeah, it was kind. The
Right.
comment was kind of dismissive, like,
Mm.
I don't. The fuck you giving me flowers type for? Now, mind you, this person also constantly was in the mindset of, I gotta corporately move. Like I gotta be in my nigga shit, right?
Mhm.
So then embracing those aspects of her femininity, she didn't really give too much credence to at that time. And I say that, and I know that was a fact because it came back up years later down the road, which is why you don't do this. And I pointed right back to that moment. That's
Yeah.
why I stopped doing that. In another
Right.
instance, I was out walking with a female, and so I naturally, and I was taught this, a woman, she walks on the inside.
That's
The
correct.
idea is if a car jumps the curb, it'll hit you before it hits her,
My husband had
right?
to teach me that. I didn't know that either till I met him.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
now, mind you, I'm out walking naturally. Oh, here, let me get this. Let me get this outside. And she chuckled at this shit, kind of like, like, snarkily, kind of like, oh, like. And I asked her, I said, what were you laughing about or chuckling about? She said, it's like, what, you think you're gonna be able to stop a car from hitting me?
Mm. So again, just being, yeah,
I said,
ungrateful.
okay, motherfucker. You
Yeah.
know what? I said, and I explained, I said, it has nothing to do with me stopping the vehicle, but I will be the barrier between that vehicle and you at the end of the day. Because
Mhm.
now, mind you, this ain't my girlfriend. It's just the idea of it, right?
Yeah,
You're
you would
you're a
have done it
woman.
with anybody. Yeah, with any
You're
woman.
not. It's not because you can't get out the way. No, but if something did happen, I'm liable to push you the opposite direction, or whatever the
Mhm.
case may be, or so that you can try to avoid this. Well, again, I think these pieces that happen with people, and then they don't realize when then what takes place, because the message you just gave me was you don't give a fuck about what I believe chivalry is, or whatever the case may, or nor do you give a fuck about what I believe is important as my role. So then that tells me that what role do you expect me to play in this?
Well, what it tells you is that she hasn't embraced her soft girl era. But okay, because let me use me as the example. When when my husband, when we first met and he did that, I was dismissive too. So I was the person you're talking about. Okay. Um, but I didn't know any better. So but that didn't change. What it did change is that he just never did that again. You know what I'm saying? He never did that again. But well, he did other things still. He still, when we walked, he walked on the outside, I walked on the inside. You know, he taught me that, you know what I'm saying? These are things that niggas didn't do before, the type of niggas I fucked with. And then also he paid for the dates. Also, when we would go, like one time we went to the drive-in and the nigga walked me to the bathroom and stood outside the bathroom waiting for me. I'm like, nigga, I know how to get to the bathroom. That's what I'm thinking. Like, nigga, you watch the movie. You know what I'm saying? We pay. No, he didn't do that. Nope. And then another thing, we were at the club once, and they started shooting. Right now, this is, yeah, I was in my 30s, but still was still the hood. So we was at this club, right, and it's a club that he bounced, but he wasn't working that night. And I was in the bathroom, the girls' bathroom, and somebody started shooting. Well, my scary ass was like, ah. So I'm just hiding in the bathroom, right? This nigga come busting through the bathroom, calling my name, busting people down, trying to get to me. And I'm like, I'm scared. And he gets me out of there. See, this is the kind of shit. This is why I fell in love with the nigga. You feel me?
That's a
Like,
real man type
like
shit.
he was like, follow me, and I'm like, yes. So when he speaks, I'll be like, okay. Like, I don't ask no questions. I just get on board, and we gonna be safe. That
Now,
is,
mind
so
you,
he allows me to. Now that you bring the term up, I know what that is. He allows me, if I'm willing to listen and adhere, he allows me to live in my femininity, where I
that
wasn't used to. My baby
where
daddy didn't do that. I was the nigga in that relationship.
and see, and that's the part, right? Because, and if you think about it, right, is he going to stop or prevent someone from shooting in that direction? No. But
Right,
if they shoot this way, they gonna hit me first. They
right.
not hitting you. You hiding over here as if you have no covering. You have a covering. I'm
Mhm,
here, right?
mhm.
And I think that that's the part of it, right, where we're seeing, and I'm seeing a culture shift that's starting to take place in hearing women talk more about this. And what's interesting though is that the knee-jerk reactions that men are having as a result of that, because it's kind of like, wait a minute, like,
Right.
what do you, because normally that's not what I would expect from you, or from a woman, right? Now, if we go into it,
Not a
y'all want to
soft
get in.
gangster. Rooks, I see y'all comments. Go ahead. I'm trying not to let y'all distract us.
No, 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 no,
Go ahead.
and that's
Yeah,
cool, because there's a couple things I do want to touch on
let you
from the
talk.
comments.
Okay.
Um but yeah, and that's a good one, right? Is having, and that's what I meant earlier, right there. That comment is what I meant by living an inauthentic experience, which
Okay.
means, in essence, what I'm just saying is it's not according to what my design is. I'm
Mm-hmm.
functioning in a role, right? Because utility is
Because I
important,
have
and
to.
because I feel like I have to, right? So I
Yeah.
have to be this position. I got to play this position because of X, Y, and Z. And I think that there is that actually created a dynamic that we are complaining about when it comes to the male and the female dynamic, or when it comes to relational dynamics, and people understanding kind of this is what I'm here for. Like, and I give you a good one that goes along with this one is a friend of mine. They're married, and they've been married for 7, 8 years, something like that. I don't know, whatever it is. It's been a little while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she works with me, so I know what she makes, right? and so she makes pretty good money.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked her a question one day. I said, "Hey, on your check stub or something," I said, "What is this? Woo 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 woo?" She said, and then her response was, "I don't know." And then we went on, moved on. And it was something else I asked her about, something related to financials, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she said she wasn't sure. And then I was like, "Why not?" And she said, "Because I don't see my money." I said, "What do you mean by you don't see your money?" She said, "Oh no, it just goes into the account. My husband
Mm-hmm.
takes care of all that. So he
Mm-hmm.
works, I work, it goes in here, and then we just go from there. He's good at that shit, and I trust him with that."
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard her say that, I had a moment where I said, "Wow, you don't hear that shit often anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
don't hear, oh no, all of our money goes right here and whatever, right?" And he's very, responsible. He's cheap to a degree, and so she talks to me and complains about shit he won't do, whatever. Um, but she never disrupts that apple cart, right? She doesn't turn it over.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking about how that plays into all these other experiences, and I know as a man, I know what you're telling me when you tell me that, right? And they've been together for a minute. And can only assume that things are still working well because I mean she tells me what she tells me. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, I was kind of proud of that. And I was just like, wow, that's wild that that this
So do
is
you think that's a part of her embracing her, what do you call it again?
I think it's a part of
Soft girl era.
yeah, I think it's a part of embracing like a genuine dynamic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to the house, like she's on that motherfucker, like the kid, all the other shit, and he might kick and complain and gripe about this, that, and the third. Oh, but she gonna get whatever the fuck she asked for when it comes to this, that, and the third. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sh- joining whatever little team or whatever the fuck she want to do. Uh, buying whatever machine because she does crafts and shit. He'll complain about it, but he buys that shit. And but I see something like positive in that though, right? And I'm just using
I
that
just
as
look at it. Yeah, I look at it as
like there's a lot of
it's
trust
trust.
that
It's
goes.
just
There's a
trust.
lot of fucking
There's a
trust in that,
there's a
and
lot of trust, and that's a good thing. But I think that is really stuff like that. I feel like is just how two people obviously decide to handle that in their marriage. I don't know that I hear what you're saying. You don't see it a lot, and you don't see it a lot because it's a different day today than it was when men took care of all the bills and the men had all the money and the women did not have any and they just gave it to the man, or the women didn't make money, the men made the money.
it's
It is a big
also
deal to turn over your money to
yeah, it's very
anybody.
big. Yeah, it's
It
very
took
big.
me years to do it, and I still have a separate account. Now I'm not gonna put all my money in in nobody's account. I don't give a fuck who it is. Soft girl era, hard girl era. I don't give a fuck. I'll give you your portion to pay. That's the portion to pay the bills, but I'm gonna keep some of my money. That's just me. But
Right.
I don't. But I don't. I look at that as just being smart. I don't look at it like it defines my softness or anything.
Well,
It but I have, because I don't want, for me to being in my soft girl era, I don't want that to sound like submission. That's not that what that means to me, or like I have to I I don't know. For me it's more about whatever brings me peace and
see?
comfort and being
Okay, so
comfortable with that.
what's wrong with submission though? What's wrong with
No,
that?
there's nothing wrong with it.
Because you
But
just said you just said I don't want it to
what I
sound
say?
like submission.
Well,
So what's wrong with
submission,
submission?
okay. So when I think of submission, for me is like you are turning over all of your power, like you are giving in. And I'm just throwing words that I could think of. You are, when you're submissive, you are bowing down to. That's the larger picture. I am submissive to my husband in certain areas, but there are certain areas where he's submissive to me. And that is
Mhm.
okay for us. I don't give a damn if you got a dick or a pussy. I don't give a damn about gender. What I'm saying is that submission can go both ways. You in a relationship, it is a business, and so you have to be smart. I'm not going to be submissive to him in an area where he's weak. My husband is not strong in certain areas. He's just
Yeah,
not. So I'm not
but
going to
those
submit to him and he be like, I'll take care of it when I know your ass don't know how.
well,
No, I'm
so
not.
well, hold on. Let's talk about that because when I was talking to your husband, he made a very interesting statement, which I understand this one, but he said, like vocally and proudly, Bobby is better than me in these areas.
Hmm.
And so I let her do though. Like that's what she does because I'm not good at that stuff.
This nigga talking about, can I just be pretty? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, you can
You
just be pretty.
can. You can. Yep.
Absolutely. You
If
can
yep.
just be pretty because um with that prettiness comes a lot of other things though. There's passion, there's purpose, there's design, right?
Yeah.
All of that, right? And no one is just, well, I can't say no one. There's probably some people who are just self-absorbed, but that's not who you are. So I would definitely say, yeah, you can just be pretty.
Hmm.
There really isn't anything else that's required outside of what you can produce, which is who
Hmm.
you are.
Right.
So so now when you get to that point, right, you say, well, I don't. And again, this is the challenge though, because
Hmm.
when you move into a different era, if we're looking at the larger context of it, right?
Hmm.
If you think about the industrial era in America, right?
Hmm.
There was everything was dominated by industrialism.
Hmm.
Schools came up around that time. That's when schools started. So that's why people sit in schools, they face the board, face the teacher up front. You have these loud ass bells, all of this stuff, right? Now people say, preparing people for prison, but that was a part of it. But there's something else there because again, in assembly lines, loud ass bells, focus in on your task, listen to your supervisor and do your due diligence, do your job. Lunchtime, go out, get your little food, 30 minutes, bring your ass back, get back to the grind, right? So this is what we were trained for. We were conditioned for this. So schools came up in that era, which is around the industrialism era, right? And then technology comes in. You don't see as many factories any longer. Not like that. Like manufacturing factories, you don't see that. What you do see though is you see large warehouses for shipping products, moving products around, housing these different products, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now we've come into this whole new era, which is in the technology era. And in this era, well, actually now we're going into the AI era now, because AI is about to take the fuck over in every way, shape, form, or fashion. So the technology era, which means we're reliant more on machinery, not people. Machinery. The machinery is what moves the needle, right? So I say all that to say this. Technology was what moves the meter. In each one of those eras, when we look at the old school people who grew up in that time period, they're kind of stuck with the mentality of said time period, right? Some of them struggle to move into technology, which is why they do shit like keeping all my money under the bed, right? Because there was a time period you came from where that was the standard protocol, right? There wasn't as much trust in banks and all this other bullshit. Well, when you look at the software era, what I feel like is being said is that, and to a degree, I'm abandoning what no longer serves me, what never really served me to begin with. Now, does that mean that it's only a responsibility on the female? No, there's other responsibilities. There's the male responsibility or the partner responsibilities as well, because honor, trust, uh, being a man or a person of your word, doing what the fuck you say you're gonna do, blah 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 blah. My brother said something to me recently, and he was like, "Bro," he was like, "Thank you for giving me this money," and I said, "Well, why would you thank me for that?" And it was from my dad, right, and our dad, and he said because he said at the end of the day, you didn't have to give it to me, and he said, and I wouldn't have known any different. And my response to him was, "Yeah, but I would know the difference." What he's describing is I've lived I've lived in existence where people don't always do what's right just because it's right. People don't always do that. So I don't have the expectation that people are going to do those things. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, but why? Like, how? Why would I not? Why would I not? Like, why would I not do that? And it seems like we're both saying the same thing, but we're coming from two different perspectives. And I just had to take a moment with that one, right, for a minute and just kind of think about like, what is he actually saying? And it wasn't a direct negative connotation to me, but it's his experience. And so when you say soft girl era, and then you look at like where are we coming from, if it's a new era that people are moving into, that means there's something that they came out of. What they came out of is the same thing Rooks was just mentioning earlier when she said where women had to be the nigga in the relationship. Absolutely correct. Because you didn't have the ability to push this off to where this can be handled here and I can focus over here. Rooks made a comment. She said, I would love to be if we had the finances to do it. And she didn't say all these words, but I'm just going to put that in there. But what I, reading what she said, this is what I'm inferring. If we had the finances and the financial latitude to be able to do it, I would love to be home and really tend to my family closely. And that was the term she used, the word closely. And which tells me a lot, right? And I think this is kind of going towards this point that I'm making, which is when we're moving this era, I'm really feeling like there is a shift that's coming, that's happening, and people are getting tired of doing the things that no longer serve them. I know that this is not according to my design. I've had to do this shit because I had no other option. Since I was little, I didn't want my wife to work. And it wasn't because she's mine and my property and you stay the fuck home and be hidden. No. I understand the value of the shit that can happen right here. And I understand this value. Like you're naturally, and I make this comment all the time on this shit. I say, man, I can, a house is a house, but a woman can make that motherfucker a home every day of the week. Some place that's comfortable, a place that just like when women get into a space, man, y'all just do shit. Like little shit that I'm like, what the fuck? Why would that little ass thing make so much a difference? But it does. I feel the difference. When you go into a home, like you go into most niggas' cribs and shit, we gonna be simple as fuck. Like when you came to my house, simple as fuck. You know?
Right.
It's like, do you have
That's
this?
true.
Nah.
That
What you
Josh.
ask? What you asked me about the? You was like, you don't have like 5 or 7 different sheets? Nah. What do I need that for?
Right, that nigga was washing a sheet. I'm like, just give me another one out the cabinet. He told me I only got one pair of sheets. What the
I,
hell? I said, what? He told me, hold on, let me wash the sheets. Nigga. I said,
it was
my
like,
God.
what's the point?
But
Like,
yeah, you're
what?
right.
But
Right.
it's a that's just an example of
Right.
but when you have a one, and again, I'm not saying that all women are the same. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but what I am saying, by and large, um, you take the type of woman that I'm talking about, she'll come in this motherfucker and put all that shit together. We gonna have this, that, and the third. There's just that because they're thinking about things that relate to that. So now I say all that to say, you know, I just feel like when it comes to this concept, there's so much more than just like what we're seeing on the surface. I think what's being said could be is that I no longer want to ascribe to what your expectation, culture's expectation and culture's demand up that's been placed upon me. I've been forced to be in this position, but I'm choosing to be in a different position. I'm choosing to align with what works for me as an individual. What works, like what speaks and breathes life into me. And it's not about what they say I should do, what my friends think I could be doing, blah blah blah. Who gives a fuck? I'm okay with my husband takes care of this. I'm okay
So
with
Tia said, "What? How do you handle a man who's a mama's boy who can't even cook?"
is that a man though? And so here we go. So you bring up a good point, right? There's certain things that the standard of what manhood is not because of your gender. That's not the standard of what manhood is. It's the standard of manhood is your ability to assume the responsibility. Because with those examples, every man that I know that I've admired their manhood is, oh no, there is no question about that. There is no question about it's these are the things that men do. Now again, it's subjective. I get it. I'm only a person though, and I can only be as I can be as broad or objective as I possibly can. And I know that there's a bunch of fucking derivatives or different directions you could take with it. But what I'm saying by and large, when I talk to my sons, there are things that I talk to them about. What my sons will see from me is the standard that I'm setting. Here's what's dope. My daughter, her boyfriend, I watch some of the shit he does. And you know what's interesting? It's very similar to shit that I do and the stuff that I can do. Now, granted, he's not handy like me or whatever the case may be. That's different. But when it comes to Zion or the kid or anything like that, like he be locked in. He's all right there. Boom. Like there is no, oh, I ain't got time for that shit. Or no, that's just what you do. He doesn't do that. Right. They
Mm-hmm.
fill in and they work together. She'll do her shit. And he does his thing. Did she say it's her husband? No, 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 no. That's her
He said,
boyfriend.
My mom has to plan. They're talking about Tia's
Oh,
situation. My
oh,
mom
okay,
has to plan everything for him. If I was in trouble and someone was breaking in, I wouldn't call him. Tia's so stupid. Is it her
oh,
husband? And
oh, okay,
she
okay,
said, yes, it's her husband. No, now Tia,
okay.
that's too much.
Again,
Is she
and
okay with it? And she said he's 95. He's 95-year-old. Mom still butters his toast. I mean, I don't know. Don't get me started. Well, I mean, it's just this is the thing though. And this is the thing. I don't know. I don't like this. Everybody has their own definition. Listen, everybody is in a relationship because they're getting something from it. It is not our job to understand or to agree with it. Your mom is with this man because she chooses to be. So she's getting something from it. It doesn't look right to you on the outside. You're defining his manhood based on that he you can't call him to rescue you, or you can't your mom, you see your mom doing everything and he doesn't do well. She's there for a reason. So he could be providing support in other ways that aren't considered manly. Maybe we don't know what goes on. I mean, I don't know. I'm just using this as an example because it's easy to be outside of somebody's relationship and judge based on what you see and these
yeah,
standards that
hmm
society has put on us for what a man
hmm
should and shouldn't do. And me and Jason are talking more on traditional standards, but I'm not stuck on that. But that's how my household is. But I don't. It could be different for somebody else, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But in my household, we're more traditional in terms of what a man's role is and a woman's role. But that's not the same in our relationships. At the end of the day, to me, are your needs being met? Whatever your needs are they being met? And if
yeah,
they are and you're okay and you're happy, then there's nothing wrong with that relationship. I'm not here to judge that. You don't
no,
have to live by my standards. So, what is a soft girl? And Chipo brought up earlier, can we talk about soft boys? I guess I didn't look into that. I don't know what she meant by that. I don't know if she's
um,
still here.
Yeah, I don't know if she's still
But
there
I
either,
don't know
but
what she meant by that. I mean, we're talking more about the feminine energy. I mean, so I would have to ask a question on what she meant by that. But I mean, at the end of the day, are your needs being met, and can you live in your truth? Call it what you want. Soft girl era. Drea, I heard you talking. I saw you talking about how you're just tired and you want to just be pretty. You've been hustling and bustling your entire life. You know what I'm saying? And you're ready to just let go for a minute. And that's definitely a very common thread when it comes to women, and that's kind of what Jason was bringing up earlier. It's it gets old, but I also feel like it gets old for men too. you
hold on,
know
hold on. What gets old? Because you gonna say I
the
said
hustle
something.
and bustle, the hustle
Oh
and
yeah,
bustle
that
of
shit's old.
providing and having to deal with corporate America and having to make ends meet and having to take care of your family financially and go out into a world that doesn't accept you and an industry that looks down on you as a black man, doesn't pay you fairly, treats you bad. You overworked, you're underpaid, you're tired, but you still got to do it because you got a family. Like, the shit gets old. I don't give a fuck if you're a man or a woman.
Yeah, it
My
does.
thing is this: in my household, my husband and I have agreed, that in our house, it's about we're gonna maintain peace. So he gets on my nerves. I'm sure I get on his with different things. But at the end of the day, it ain't no whole bunch of fighting and all that. We just go in our separate corners and let it ride, right? Because what's more important is that when my husband comes home for work, there's peace. So what he can talk to me about the day. I can talk to him about my day, whatever. But I work from home, so he kind of sees how my day go for the most part. But I let him, we talk and let him get it off, whatever. Sometimes I really don't care. I'm just like, okay. But I'm here. He's got to talk to me about, well, this happened, this happened. That's fine. But when you come home, it's peace. Honey, what you need? The sheets are clean. I'm making your lunch. You don't have to worry about that.
Come
Just come
on,
home, chill, and I got
listen.
everything else.
That shit that you're talking about is worth. You have no idea how valuable that is to him. And I'm telling you from a man's perspective, you have no idea. If you think that, oh, it's a take it or leave it, yeah, he can do it. We're not saying that he can't. And obviously, just like
Right.
you can open your own doors and shit like that and do all this other shit, you can do it.
What's drizzle
Bu-
drizzle? But go ahead. Oh,
I
you
don't
know.
know. I saw that, but I wasn't really
Yeah,
sure
you're
what
gonna
that's
have to
related
explain
to.
that, but go ahead, Jason, before you
She said
forget.
so much. Cheapo said it, but um, the I do think that there's just something to it, and this kind of brings up this other point, right? When you
Hmm.
think about what are some of the complaints that I've heard that single women are having about men right now, and could this
Come on,
also
Drea,
be
single women.
um could this also be what Chipo was referring to when she said about the soft boy area, and she's talking about how
Okay.
men and this is kind of what I'm understanding about that whole notion is that some
Mm.
men they want to be taken out on dates.
Oh,
They want
okay.
the females to pay for them. Um, they want to be treated as the prize, if you will. And
Mm.
so I'm going to tie something into something that Rooks
I
also
don't know
said.
about that.
Now this is real though. This is
Right,
happening.
right, right. I
I've heard
wouldn't be
enough
able to be
women
with
to
him.
mention this
I-
as to what they're running into in the dating world, right?
Oh, sorry, Brooks. I thought you knew. I thought drizzle drizzle meant something. I'm thinking of. I thought you were talking about Drake.
It
Okay, go ahead.
no, 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 but it
Oh,
does mean something.
okay.
Because I've heard that term, but again, I would probably need her to kind of clarify more. But um, so
Yeah, right.
here's the other part about this, right? And I'm finding
Mm-hmm.
this is also fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have and they've called these men like beta males, right?
Oh,
This is
yeah,
the
okay.
term that's being applied to them is that they're beta males because
Mm-hmm.
they want to be treated almost like the female in a relationship. And
Why?
they want her now, but here's the thing though, I'm gonna tie this back into something that Rook said a little while ago
Okay.
when she talked about her mother-in-law moving in.
Okay.
And we all know that can be a very fucking challenging scenario,
Right, right.
especially depending on the type of mother-in-law she is.
Hmm.
Has she chosen to accept a secondary role, or is she still fighting to be number one? Are
Okay.
you still now in competition with the mother? That's the question,
Okay.
right? Because
Hmm.
some mothers and fathers do not let go of that position, and they fight to maintain that position for their own reasons.
Hmm.
Um, but here's something that's interesting that you can see. So
Hmm.
women will
Okay.
complain. Now I'm talking to mothers now, right? They'll
Okay.
complain about the men that they run into in the world. But when you look at how they raise their sons, you are raising your son in the exact same image of the man that you're talking about you despise. Exact
Hmm.
same image.
You ain't lying on that now.
Exact same image.
Hmm.
And I say it's the exact same image because coming from a place where I have hindsight, because I can see how these behaviors, what they turned into over here. I can see that clearly. And I can look back and I can see some things that my mother did with me and I
Hmm.
complained about, but I understand now why she did that. I understand more so now why she was so hard and so specific about certain parts of my behavior because of what that was going to could have potentially turned into right now. So when you say, and this is what I find as a trip, right, is that they call this the Oedipus. I know this term; it's a psychological term, but anyway, and it's not to say it's true, but there is some truth to this. Whereas men sometimes are looking for their mother, women sometimes are looking for their father, right? Because it becomes the first person that you formed a bond with, right, of the opposite sex. And in heterosexual scenarios, I don't know. It'd be interesting to kind of dig further into when you get into the duality of that.
Oedipus. What is this? Oedipus complex? I don't know what
Oedipus,
that is.
Oedipus complex.
Oedipus.
Yeah.
Well, go
So
ahead.
if you and again, there's a weird Freud. Freud was a wild cat, but nevertheless, is and again, I'm not. This is not to say this was something that was coined at a time in the early 1900s, if I'm not mistaken. But
Oh,
it's not.
unconscious infatuation towards his mother.
Yeah. But there's some truth to that, as in when you
Unconscious
consider
love.
that this is something I say about relationships,
Hmm.
spiritual relationships. Your mother is the first God that you know. And you know that because of everything that she provides for you, protects you, the whole nine yards. So everything that we consider in the relationship that we
Hi,
have
Shan.
with
You in the
spirituality,
background.
um,
Mhm.
we've seen that the mother, and this is from my standpoint, is that the mother is the literal representation of the very first God that we know, because everything from whatever way you want to look at this, she embodies all of that. And so naturally, this then enters into your everyday relationships and your other relationship as you mature in God too. So when we think about what's happening with relationships and people, and you have these different, areas of concern, like it was mentioned, like why are these men acting certain kinds of ways? I can guarantee you that it was how they were raised in a lot of instances, with the absence of a father or an absence of a father who could define what his role should be, right? And what works according to like his design. So when he doesn't have that, then you're going to get those types of scenarios. And so I see how they blend together personally. I do. But is that the whole story? I don't know. But when you consider the soft girl era and what I feel like women are starting to try to lean more into in that respect, um, I think there's something dope there. And I'm gonna tell you, and this is why I think there's something dope there. When you hear women's complaint about men and being non-committal, um, being short-sighted to a large degree, um, not embodying what they expect to be what a man does, like he provides, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so that I can be what's genuine to me. And it's like, why is he not accepting what I would have thought would be genuine to him? Well, one part of that is the complaint. If you listen to what men's complaints are, I think there's a correlation. So a lot of times you hear when I listen to men talk about their complaints about dating, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you know one of the terms that came up? And Cheapo mentioned this one time in one of our podcasts when she said, um, men sometimes feel like or think, or she said she questioned, am I giving off too masculine vibes?
Hi, Sean.
You know what I mean? Like when I remember she mentioned that one time, and I was just like, I said that's interesting, to say, because I can tell you that a masculine male isn't typically looking for his image in the mirror. Not if you're in it, not if you're in that type of dynamic. You're not really typically looking for that. You're looking for the balance to you. So that if I am a masculine male, then I'm looking for the balance. I'm looking for femininity. Now, is there a threat with some masculine men or men who kind of, fall within that spectrum about a woman's femininity? Absolutely. And that's where you get men who question a woman when she leads with her femininity. Oh, well, you know, you got to be more, you got to tighten up or you got to toughen up. Listen, a woman can bring a motherfucking child on this earth. There ain't shit else that she needs to tighten up when it comes to shit like that. Like, truth be told, she's got the ability to do it. I push back on stuff like that because what I hear you saying is that my tears make you uncomfortable or my sensitivity makes you uncomfortable. And I think there's a problem with that. I think there's a legitimate issue with that, especially when you hear men verbalize that, because I've seen where, and how do I want to say this? I don't want to go into that part of it, not yet, but I honestly think that what. Oh, and this is the part I was going to say was this is also kind of underpins why men, when I was in DR. And so I'm with majority women, right? There's only one other guy, but everybody else is women. Do you know what dominated the women's conversation when we were out constantly? Look at all these dudes out here. They ain't coming out here for no vacation. They out here on this passport bros. This was the legitimate conversation every day, and I had to like listen. That doesn't. We don't know why they're out here. could it be? Maybe, but it could also be they're out here to play golf or do some other shit. Well, we were standing in the airport and we seen all these just brothers, like just different groups of them just coming through. No females involved, no females in sight, just all
Mm-hmm.
single dudes. And it was like, men don't travel like this. They coming here for a reason, and it could be. So then I was like, but why does that bother you though?
Who did it bother?
The women, like some of the
That
women
the
that.
men were that the men were coming there just for the women.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what could you okay, so can you simplify all of this for me and tell me what we're getting at?
Um. Well, here's the part of it. When if you were to ask me, like, what do I think would drive men to want to go, like, and go on these passport bros vacations and do all this stuff. You know what it is, right? At the baseline of it, it's fucking simplicity. It's simplicity. The basis of it, and some will say, oh well, sex, no, it's not just the sex, but the sex is a byproduct of the simplicity of the interactions. I
What's so
don't
simple about it?
it isn't ambiguous. It's just is what it is. I don't have to play any game. I don't have to figure out what the fuck you're thinking. I don't have to worry about uh which direction are you
Why
coming
don't
from at
you?
whatever moment.
Is it just because you're on vacation that you don't have to worry about these things, or are you saying it's a cultural thing in the DR?
Well, hold on, because you're alluding to the second point of that,
I'm just
which is
yeah, because it
no,
was
no, no,
something
no.
you
You're
said
getting to it.
before that, before even the DR was
Yeah.
just trying to.
Well, the part of it that I'm seeing is, well, why would they go on those trips, right?
Mhm.
And then because I was asking her, I was like, well, why does it bother you though? Like, I haven't thought twice about seeing the dudes here. I said, but why does it register to you? And she said, well, it's just like they're coming here and it's like, but all these beautiful single women back home, but yet they want to come over here and whatever. And I said, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. I said, you mean it's almost like how single black women will go to Jamaica and we finding out now what the fuck they be doing over there. Because we didn't know at first. But it's starting to come out now what women are doing when they go to Jamaica. It ain't just, oh, it's a beautiful place. No, it's because they be out there getting fucked on. A lot of them do. Now,
Mhm.
but it's accepted, right? And it's talked about within their circle. We just don't know shit because in the two, it's like, oh, women don't typically get down like niggas do. Yes, y'all do. Yes, y'all do. We ain't as much
I feel
different
like,
as
I
y'all
mean,
be acting.
so what's wrong with any of that? What is
Well,
wrong with it? Like
again,
if somebody whether if you want to be
dudes
sexually
are not
fluid,
complaining about that.
if you
Dudes are not complaining about that. Women are complaining about that part. Niggas don't care
uh-huh,
about that. That ain't the issue. The
uh,
issue is, I was like, well, why does it bother you that you're seeing all these men? And her comment was, there's so many single, beautiful women here back home, right? She's also one of them. She's single, feels like she's beautiful, right? But yet she's single and
mm-hmm.
she's
But what?
having
But
a
what?
problem
Yeah, I just don't
finding,
agree with her. I guess I just don't. I don't understand.
yeah,
I mean, I guess women think that way. I guess, but
in
my
some
thing
cases,
is,
right?
what difference does it fucking make? I mean, you're n- you're not
But you're not single, right? A lot of the women that are single are having real conversations because it's like, why
because men are
have I
going
not?
out elsewhere.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's
Uh-huh.
like, why
Uh-huh.
am I still single? Why have I not been able to find somebody that can love me in a way that I can reciprocate and love them, right? And then when you go on these vacations and you see all these men who don't,
Mm-hmm.
they look, obviously they look, seem like they could be single, they could have somebody, but anyway, the point is they're not running around with
Right.
wedding rings on and shit.
Right.
um it's like, but you're coming here. So I understood what she's saying. I understood perfectly what she's saying, and I understood the context of the complaint,
Mm-hmm.
because conversing with her more, it's like you have all these beautiful women that are back
Yeah,
home,
but
and
those
it's like
women,
you're choosing.
niggas don't. They're not there to find a relationship. Niggas are there to fuck on bitches.
Okay, so here's the thing though.
So, do you want to just
Oh,
be
here's the
fucked
thing
on?
though. Here's the thing though. Okay,
What do
so
you
let's
want?
get to it right here, because
Okay.
what could be said is this. It's like that's the one thing that I had to use to get you.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
Like, I mean, like legit. Like what if that's really what's at the baseline of it? This is the thing that I had that would get your attention. So now what the fuck else? What can I offer? Because you can go over here and get what I had to give. We're talking about coming out in the era that we had been in, right? In that era. which is I'm doing this, whatever. I'm on my independent INDEPENDENT shit. I'm doing this, blah, 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 blah. But there's been a knee-jerk reaction to that. And we can see it in men as to why they seem to be disconnected, but yet they want to go overseas. So when I was talking about marriage, I was talking about marriage, and um, you should see the vitriol that comes if men verbalize, or when men verbalize, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna find me a wife overseas." Why in the fuck would you do that? Why would you go all the way overseas to find a woman? Because it's an internalized thing. It's like, so am I not good enough? Are we not good enough? So you want to choose these other women for whatever reason.
Well, yeah, they're less work probably, and they don't have they may not. They're submissive. They probably don't have a lot of expectations, and they look at
Okay.
niggas from America. The niggas got money, and you're an American. Like when you talk about going overseas, it's a cultural thing. I mean, but why? I don't like the fact that we as women we should not be comparing ourselves to that. All you could do is focus on what being your authentic self and figuring out why you can't keep a man. There could be something going on, but I would not even put two and two together, single or not. I'm not hating on the fact that these niggas want to go and fuck on bitches. Niggas fuck. That's what men do. They're more, they like the visual, they're sexual, and not that women aren't, but that's more of that type of trait for a man, I think. So I wouldn't take it personal because they're not there. They're there to fucking have a vacation and have a good time. They're not there to put in any work. That's why it's easy for them. Same for the women that go to Jamaica. It's the same concept. Or go to these countries they want to get fucked on and have a good time. They're on vacation. They're ambiguous. Nobody knows who they are. They can't be judged. They can do what they want to do and come back home and get back to reality. That does not have a reflection on me. Period.
It shouldn't. But I will say this though, because it's harder to do. So when you take a man like me, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
these are the comments that I get.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in jest. But there's some
Mm-hmm.
truth to that, right? So here's the
Mm-hmm.
comments I get. Why are you still single? Right? I
Mm-hmm.
get these. I literally get these comments periodically, right?
Right.
Um, why are you dating anybody? No. Why are you not dating anybody?
Mm-hmm.
What they're telling me is, from what I see and what I've experienced with you, I don't see why you're still single, because there's I know for a fact that a lot of women, or enough women, would at least one of the motherfuckers would want to grab you up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it questions, and we go deeper, right? So if we go deeper and say, and I talk about, being married several times, right? And then it's
Mm-hmm.
like, right, when you say you've been married a few times, it's kind of like, the fuck's wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the first question is, oh, this nigga must have been a cheater, or oh, this nigga could have been doing this, oh, something, right? Something's got to be wrong, because I don't understand why
Right.
because and this is from married or single women, because I'm like, shit, I'm still married to this motherfucker over here, and I know God good and goddamn damn well, unless you worse than this motherfucker, I can't compute what the fuck is going on. So when you say, well, we shouldn't be judging ourselves based on these other external standards, well, it's harder to say, right? It's easy to say, it's harder to do and to live, because have I had moments where I'm like wondering about my self-worth, because I'm like, I this is the conversation that goes on mentally is, man, I failed. I
Mm-hmm.
failed here, I failed here, I failed there. And I'm using that to say, I can understand and I can empathize with women who feel like, I'm still single. What the fuck is going on? Like, why?
And
What
I
am I
think that's
doing?
a valid. I don't think there's anything wrong with that question. I think that's a very good question to ask yourself. And I'll use Chipo as an example because she says it all the time on her page. She can't understand why. Like, how can this woman? She's like, you. This person is in a relationship, and on the outside, we looking at this person, and this. She literally had a video up about this, talking about somebody, but it was like, how is this person getting all these dates and doing A, B, and C, and I'm sitting over here by myself? So basically comparing the two, it happens, right? That's there's no that is it's self-reflection, and I don't think anything's wrong with that.
Hmm.
But you have to be able to figure out what's trash to throw out that's irrelevant, and what actually applies to you. So, when it comes to, like for instance, yes, having several failed marriages, that is going to, I mean, for anybody, you're going to have some self-doubt.
Out to me. Hmm.
You're right. I mean, I mean, if we're just being honest and transparent, and you should. There's nothing wrong with self-reflection,
Yeah.
and and um and to look within, and accountability for yourself, and
Hmm.
trying to um critique, or what do you self-reflection, right?
Yeah.
Because you know yourself better than anybody else. So, we're not stupid. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to say, but in your relationships where you went wrong, or what you could
Yeah.
have done differently. You know this. So these are things that, and going back to, because people have brought something up, but and it's just, at the end of the day, and I told her this when she said that. I told her, I said, just lower your expectations. You could find somebody.
Well,
And
let
I
me.
said that in jest. I was
Yeah.
joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
so you're looking at this person who is low hanging fruit, and they're getting dates, right? Eh, Look at look at the person. Like, look at the dates they're getting. So if you want quality, you're gonna have to wait. And then not that she's not willing to wait. She's wait, or just like you.
Yeah.
You're willing to wait for what it is that is yours, right? Same with Drea. Drea just mentioned that a minute ago. She's
I
tired
think
of being single and all that, but she's willing to wait. I don't know, self-reflection. I don't see anything. I mean, I think that's a
no.
good
I,
thing.
I I I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think
Right,
that's
right.
it's important and it's healthy to do,
Yeah.
but it doesn't negate the fact that when you live in a culture that has a certain type of narrative as it
Yeah.
relates to why, right? It's
Yeah.
typically
Like,
something's
it's
wrong
something
with you,
wrong. It's something
right?
wrong.
That's
Yeah.
and that's the narrative. So then that's the part that you have to
Throw
mentally
out.
try to like, yeah, combat or be proactive
Yeah.
against.
That's
So,
the good. Yep.
um,
That's a cultural thing. You're right. And it's
yeah,
like something's wrong with you. Oh, and another example would be, if you have a big girl, and I can say this for myself, right? You got a big girl, and she got a fine ass nigga, and the nigga really loves her, or what we consider to be fine. He look good. He got, what is he doing with her type shit? Well,
yeah,
as a woman, you like, why does he like me? Right? And you're wondering, because it's natural, because in our society, if he got it going on, he's supposed to be with somebody who's thin, slim waist, big booty, pretty long hair. Like, there's all these rules and how shit's supposed to go. So it is, to your point, it is very hard for us to
hmm,
combat that, because of this is the culture we live in. This is what we were grown up in. So it's hard to, like, mentally combat that,
it
and
is.
find your
Yeah,
self-worth, and to really believe it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I could put it on paper, but I gotta believe it, and then, like, for me, like with you, it's like, for me, it's like, you just have to be ready. And when you're ready, you'll know. And also, I feel like when you guys are single, and this is for anybody, when you go through the phase of being single, it's very important to embrace that phase.
oh man,
Instead of saying, man, why am I single? Or, oh, you can reflect, but, and then constantly looking for a man, or looking for a woman, or I want a man, I want a woman. Like, we get so stuck in that. Just
yeah,
live,
yeah,
travel,
yeah,
do shit. Like you in the group, you started going to the group, and you know you got shit going on in your life. Like just occupy your time, and then I just feel like as you grow as a person and you live in your singlehood or singleism, whatever the fuck, you know,
Singleness,
or your what do you call it? Not you, but like the what's the type of title of this shit? The,
soft girl
your
era.
feminine soft girl era. Yeah, live in your soft girl era or whatever it is.
No, I don't
Embrace
have a soft
not
girl era.
you,
So
but
look,
you know what I mean. Just I
no,
mean,
no,
because
no.
it will come. It will come. I
Yeah,
promise.
and let me say this though, because like some of and I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna say this specifically for people that are on the same track that I'm on.
Hmm.
So I won't know that offhand, but
Okay.
there are some telltale signs about that.
Hmm.
One of the things I will say is that I cannot measure what I see externally. Like I give you good one. I think Rooks mentioned this, or Rooks was doing something. Somebody said something, and it could have been Rooks. But I remember making this comment in somebody's live or something, and I said, "Oh, no, it might have been our live." But I was talking about them. I said there have been times where I would see like relationships or people in relationships, and I scroll quickly past that shit
Hmm.
because I know there's a part of me that's gonna sit there and judge the motherfuckers that I see, especially
Hmm.
the men. I can if I let myself go there, my mind will be critical like a motherfucker.
Right.
I know people that have been married and are still married, and I'm like, the fuck?
Hmm.
It's like, and like, I'm not even look. I'm just gonna say it so I can deliver myself, and
Hmm.
y'all can get delivered too. I'll say it for y'all too, but I'll be looking at people like, nigga, I know I'm better than this nigga. It's like,
Facts. Right. You like you
hey,
got to be bullshit.
I'm like,
Then he said, "Yeah, I know I'm better than this nigga." Right.
and I be having conversations with God like that. I'm like, are you serious? I said,
Thank you, Peachy. We love
how?
you.
Yeah,
Uh
thanks,
huh.
thanks, society. I was like, how is this nigga? How is this nigga in this 15-year relationship? I said, I said, I
How's
know
he
I'm
hanging
better
in
than
there?
this nigga, right?
Right. Right.
So, so what I said, and so anyway, I've had
That
these
nigga said, "I
moments,
know
right?
I'm better than this nigga." You stupid.
I literally
That's
have said
funny as
that shit,
hell.
and
Right. Right. But it's
I mean it
true.
to myself. Like I
Right.
know I'm
Right.
bad. Like I can see it. Like I know. Like I'm line by line. Like I measure up higher than
Mhm.
this shit right here. Well,
Right.
here's what's interesting though, is I was having this thought one day, and this is what came to me as I was having this thought. What is good for one does not mean that it is good for another.
Hmm.
The other part about that came for me was you're looking at the fact of, well, we didn't stay together or whatever, so it's not so it wasn't good or whatever the case may be. I said, but what if those situations ran their course and they were designed to run their course for the time it was?
Hmm.
Because did you not grow as a result of each one of those scenarios? Yes. Did you see that it was the same issues in every scenario? No. Did you make adjustments? Yes. Which is why my frustration was like, I made adjustments every time, like in improving myself, right?
Hmm.
But then it was like the other part about this, and then this came back, and it was something that you mentioned earlier while we were talking that was one of those things that came to me as well, which was when it comes to where I'm at now and
Hmm.
what's necessary for my design,
Hmm.
I understand more now why I'm single and why I needed to be single at this point in my motherfucking life. Because
Hmm.
there's no way I would have left my wife. There's no way possible. I would not have divorced. Oh, I gotta follow my fucking passion or follow my dreams. Nah, I would have shelved that shit. That shit would have got shelved so quick, and I don't make no apologies about it. And I'm not saying that I don't love God, and I'm not saying I don't follow what God has in store for me. But at the end of the day, what I do know is the way I'm designed,
Hmm.
I value family too much.
Hmm.
She had to leave. Like she had to separate from me to free me to grow at the end of the
Mhm.
day. So, what I've seen, and I'm seeing this more and
So do you
more.
look at that differently now? Like
Fuck
the
yeah.
fact that do you still feel the same way? Like I'm not. If you were to get married again, would you feel the same way? Like I would not leave my wife for no reason at all.
Nope. Not anymore.
Okay.
No, I don't. And there are some things that
Cause
would
you
be,
hung in there,
yeah, but there are some things, and it was at my own detriment though,
right?
because there are
Hmm.
some things that I should have checked sooner than I did. There are some
I
things
think
that
a lot of
I
people do
should have
that.
addressed.
Hmm.
There's some things that should have just been non-negotiables.
Hmm.
Period. No matter what the dynamic is, there should have been some non-negotiables, and I allowed too many. Well, how do I say this? Oh, I allowed too many boundaries to be crossed,
Mm.
and I moved the goalposts for the sake of
But you,
peace.
yeah, and the marriage, and you wanted to keep the marriage.
Move the
You looked
goalposts.
at that as did you look at that as a like a you didn't want to fail again?
Yep,
So
that was a
you
part of it.
allowed shit to just go on. Women and men do that. That's not yeah, that's definitely not just a gender
Hmm.
thing. I think a lot of people do that because
Yeah,
they don't
yeah,
want
yeah,
it to fail.
yeah. Especially when you have that narrative, right? And and then I seen my dad, and I seen and I didn't want to quote unquote be um in a situation like that. I didn't like the fact that he left me and my
Mhm.
brother and shit like that. I didn't like the fact
Mhm.
that he wasn't able to man, fuck it, man, deal with the bullshit and just adjust. So
Mhm.
I embodied that, right? So I would deal with
Mhm.
bullshit and I would just make the adjustment. The good thing I can say is I'm still cool with two of them.
Right.
And the third one, she coming around little,
Mhm.
little by little. But
Mhm.
the reality is that I can honestly say that I've grown tremendously as a result. And then being now in my 40s and then able to experience life like this,
Mhm.
man, it's a dream.
And
It's a
not
dream.
being too old to do it. Like you're still
Oh
young and
man,
you can
it's a
still
dream.
live.
And when that time comes, it'll come and it'll be what it's going to be. But I'm no longer trying to manufacture or force some shit down the road because I want to fill a void. And I think that was the thing that I really had to address was I did have a void, and I didn't realize it was a void
Mhm.
until it was actually exposed as that. Until
Mhm.
when I left, when we separated, well, my value also separated. I didn't know what my value was
Mhm.
because, and so any scenario, whether it be a job, friendship, whatever, fucking this YouTube shit, if any of that shit can leave my children, if any of that shit can leave and affect how I view the value that I have, oh, that means I'm tied a little too closely to it. That means
Mhm.
it then means it now. Now you gotta follow me on this one. It means it now has become a god in my life, and
Mhm.
that's the
Right.
crazy part,
Right.
right? Is because we do create idols, we create gods out of the things that we experience and the people, and then the idea of certain what this means. If she loves me, then that means I'm valuable. What I'm actually saying is that
You
I
giving
need
the
to,
power away.
yeah, I need to make sure she's here, and I appease the God so that
Mhm.
then the God can then shine his blessings down upon me or whatever,
Mhm.
or rain his blessings down upon me. So I think there are these dynamics that we're experiencing, and as a part of the journey and the challenges that we face, you can see parts of yourself. And when you do get a chance to see that, I'm just such a firm believer in, man, is I've got to be able to lean into it so that I
Mhm.
can grow. And once I'm able to grow with it and learn through it and then process or progress my way, beyond it, oh man, it's golden. It
Mhm.
becomes a beautiful thing. So I would say, and even on this piece about the soft girl era and things, I do value it. I think as a masculine man, as masculine men, a lot of times I am looking for femininity. I'm not looking to see myself in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking to see the thing that, you know, speaks to my strength. I'm looking at things that creates the balance that I need, because typically
Mm-hmm.
that is what I'm striving. That's what I'm looking for, is my balance.
Mm-hmm.
Where is my balance at? As
Mm-hmm.
especially as a single man, it's my balance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here over this, over here doing this, doing that, blah 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 blah. And I can run my lanes pretty well. But there's just some intangible that she brings and has and she embodies. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not something that can be performed. It's just something that she is. So
Right.
I do think, that's just my thoughts on that, man. And I think the blessing that's happening is men who I know are looking elsewhere outside of our culture. If you break down what niggas is really saying,
Yeah.
it's the absence of the appreciation of femininity.
And let me say this to that. When it if it when it comes to that, if that is what a man is looking for and that's what they want a feminine, and they like the feminine traits of a woman, and they want a woman who can embody that, like you said. You have to be the man that I can trust to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have to be, so you can't just go to Japan because you say Japanese women are submissive. They are they submissive without a voice? You have to be able to, there again, there's a balance. I am submissive, right? I am. And but my husband has earned that. And so if you're not finding that in a woman and that's what you're looking for, because he'll tell you he had to change who he was to get the type of woman I am. And he figured it out while we were dating, right? And so he had to switch up how he moved and how he spoke to me, and how he had to let it make some changes, because I that didn't register with me, right? So all I'm saying is, in
No, no,
general,
yeah, no,
whatever
that's good.
you're looking for in someone, going somewhere else to try to find it and going out, that's not really the answer. The answer is, make sure that you are the person that someone can trust to be submissive to. That doesn't
What?
mean it'll be, I don't care what race they are, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, for somebody to submit to you, and it's the same for me to my husband. He submits to me. Let's say it's the credit cards or whatever, right? He trusts me with that, but I earned that trust. I didn't always have that trust. I had to earn it, right? So now I can go in his wallet and whoopty wham, right? Men are big on that shit. Don't go in my shit. He could wake up out his sleep. If he sees me in his wallet, he's just gonna turn over. He's not gonna be like, "Why you in my wallet? Give me my wallet." You see what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
he trusts me, and I just feel like all of that shit is earned at the end of the day. It's
Yeah,
all earned.
but it has to be something that can be, not something that's just, oh, you'll never have this, right? You'll never get this aspect of me. And because it's almost like working a job, right? You work this job, the
Hmm.
expectation is that I should have the ability to move up.
Hmm.
But if you were to work a job and then find out, oh no, this is
You,
this is all you can do.
you
This
hit the
is it.
ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. There's no way from here can you move up to the next level. You can't
Hmm.
grow. There's nothing you can do to improve
Hmm.
on
So you're gonna give
how
up.
we
So you be
respond
like,
to
"Fuck it."
you. Well, I'm just saying it has to be. I'm just saying that these things have to be innately inside of us, right? So you have to. So from the male perspective, right? I would say this, and this is something that I say typically, or I talk when I'm talking about the subject is whatever it is that you're desiring, right? You have to give quality for quality. So if your expectation is for a quality man or a quality woman, you got to match quality with quality because opposites do not always attract. And I know people have this whole thing, but if we break it down to a molecular level and talk about atoms and shit, atoms don't attract to unlike atoms. They attract to likeness, period.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the shit that's in your body. That's why your skin is all together. Those atoms attracted to each other, which creates your skin. When you
Mm-hmm.
actually get a cut and you know how that little white shit forms,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start to see like your skin color start to come back in that area, blah, blah, blah. That's your body's way of the atoms are now starting to now attract back to this because they are attracting a likeness. That's what happens. So if I expect quality, if I desire quality, I've got to be quality. And how do
Mm-hmm.
I know if I'm quality or not? Not only will I learn that by the people that I attract to me, but I'll also know because of the things that I know that I need to work on that I'm either actively pursuing or I'm like, man, fuck that shit. I ain't gotta be better with that.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that shit. I ain't gotta be more responsible than that. Fuck that shit. I ain't gotta help. Fuck that other shit. I ain't, whatever. We'll do. Nah, you do. And so you actually do that. Your proving grounds is your single grounds because that's the area when nobody is looking because you are what you do when nobody else is paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm lazy, then that's what I am. And I can't if I'm performing in front of you, but then when I'm by myself, I just, ain't shit. That's telling me the truth of what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because character is what we do when no one's watching. It's who
Right.
we are when no one's watching. And
Right.
so I'm a firm believer in building from the inside out and then going through that process. So for me, it was important that I went through more processes and at least I'm appreciating the processes that I'm able to go through. Could I have gone through this with someone? Possibly, but that's just not the way it was designed for me. So,
Right.
um, so leaning into what it means to be me in 2024 and beyond, is just a part of it. And so coming to a firm acceptance and appreciation for it. And without going too far into detail, yeah, this shit can get pretty fly. It's actually I'm starting to notice a lot that I'd never noticed before. Um, I was afraid of being single.
Yeah.
I
Right.
low key was like for years. I think at the end of the day, I'll have to say I definitely was afraid of it because it's like I didn't want to. I was a reluctant single. That's the word I
Mm-hmm.
use. I was a reluctant single. Um, but learning how to be okay with that and then live in that truth and then like get all of the nutrients that I'm supposed to get from it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful
All
thing.
right. Well, we're right up on time here, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging in there tonight. We will not be here next Thursday. Because I'm in office next Thursday. But make sure to share the live. Make sure to tell everybody about Unlatched Podcast. And then
Please do.
sometimes we'll go ahead and drop the link so people could come up and you're not just in the comments. We're going to start doing that again. Um, but yeah, it was a good topic tonight. Jason, thank you. Thank you for coming in. Tia, Drea,
Everybody that
Peachy,
slid through.
Cherokee. Thank you guys. If I miss any comments, I apologize. You guys know that. But I try to keep up on the comments. But otherwise, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Stay tuned. I got some stuff I'm doing this weekend, going camping. So I got some things I want to um kind
Love
of
y'all
bring to
too.
light, huh?
No, I was saying I love them too.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so stay tuned. I'll be posting some stuff probably after the weekend or whatever, because I don't know if I have internet up there where I'm at. But it's gonna be a definite vibe for sure. And but yeah, we tapping into who we are. And so if there's nothing else I could tell you, man, lean into the discomforts, man, whatever it is. If you uncomfortable with something, like there's a story behind that, and your growth is associated with that thing you're uncomfortable with.
All right.
So if it keeps representing itself and representing itself and representing itself, that's the universe's way, that's God's way of saying, I just everything you're asking me, I just need you to address this. I need you just to lean into it and just know you're not leaning into it alone. I sent a message out to my little text group this week, and what I was saying in essence was, and it was such a dope little comment, was God never sends us anywhere without full preparation. He doesn't send me into any aspect of my existence without fully being prepared for that. And the preparation is it's whatever you are plus me, whatever you have plus me. So if my percentage, if I were to break that down into a numerical formula, is whatever my number is, whatever my percentage is. If I only got 30%, and that's the maximum I got, okay, I'm gonna make up that 70. So that when you come, you're a complete. You when you enter into this, or you engage with this, right, or you interact with whatever this is, you are complete, whole, lacking nothing. So I'm a firm believer in God doesn't send us anywhere without fully preparing us. So as you're being unctioned to move forward and move into those things or lean into something that's uncomfortable, just know you're not gonna do it alone. You ain't got to. Um, so you'll have everything you need, and I believe that. So, and there's some other aspects of it, but look, love y'all. Thank y'all for sliding tonight. Uh, See you guys in 2 weeks. Stay tuned in, and and until next time. Until
All
next
right.
time,
Good night,
keep leaning.
y'all. We'll see you later.
All right,
Peace.
deuces.